What's up, everybody? I'm Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation, the first captain of IMC, because we got 3 captains now, streaming to our TikToks, Instagram, YouTubes, Facebook, and of course, live audience here on Zoom, and live in-person audience with my guest, Cruz, the Bruiser, Cruiser the Bruiser, and he's here doing his residency, finishing guardian training to become IMC officer guardian for the newly formed Base 6, our 6th base down there in Anaheim, California. Have 4 IMC monks there. And this is Chris's like 3rd or 4th residency here, but this is completing officer training. And so we'll tap in with him and see what that's been like, just the whole journey, really. And then, icing on the cake here, this most recent residency. There'll be ongoing residency. That's what I am. Sultan and Fernando is a permanent resident. We're ongoing resident. We're living here. And this is the foundation base for the process, for the IMC process, AZD process, where we live with the founder of IMC Nation, AZD. And that's why I'm here. That's why you know of me. That's why you know me. That's what these Instagram and TikTok accounts are dedicated to, the YouTube. And this podcast, episode 350 something, that has gone through a big evolution from the beginning when it was, co-hosting with somebody who dropped out and dropped off and whatever. And now he's just half gay. I don't even know how to explain that character. And then moving through a cycle of interviews with maybe 40 or so different IMC guys, 30 or 40 different IMC guys through the episodes like Nico and Brian Casella. And, I've had many guys multiple times and lots of solo episodes, of course, too. But when we have the opportunity to have someone here in person so you can get another perspective on what's going on, because obviously I'm invested in the movement, so I could be biased. You never know. I could be selling you a used vacuum cleaner, a broken toaster. But Cruz here, I don't know, you judge. And so as all the guys go through the episodes and you see that there's lots of different individuals, intelligent, adult, male individuals that have their shit together that are saying what they're saying. And, compare that to what other movements you might be looking at. And I think you'll see a difference. And that especially goes to the TikTokers and Instagrammers and people just discovering us. Like recently I had Rafael Hernandez an episode or 2 ago here, resident. He discovered this stuff on TikTok 12 months ago. And fast forward, he did trainings. Now I came residency and now he's IMC for life. Like you asked that guy what it was like. But today we're going to be asking Cruz. So let's see. First, what do you think of my intro? How was that?
Man, that was incredible. Sounded like you've been rehearsing that, but I know it just flew through you.
That's true. It's both. Yeah, I've done it a lot, and it'll keep getting better. One day it'll be episode 1,500, and I'll be that much better with it. So, all right. So let's see. You've had quite a growth through IMC. You came around at some point, and then you came back around and was more dedicated, and then you were in base 3 for about a year. And then you went on and did your own thing and succeeded and then formed Base 6. And now you're here in residency, again, finishing your guardian training. So where should the story start? Like, where would you start it if just, it doesn't have to be the beginning, just what's the first thing you would, have to say about?
And well, for me, it's always been about evolving in every way.
Well, who is Cruz? Let's say, just if you were going to do something, you're so-and-so, you grew up here and you do this as an occupation and, you're passionate about XYZ. Just give us an idea. Who's Cruz?
Okay. Well, I'm from California. I sell cars. So I'm one of the top producers at a dealer in California. And I've done a lot in my life, like different endeavors and so forth. But man, for me, it's always seeking knowledge and how to better oneself. You know what I mean? Aside from just like work or, everything. I would say, like, for me, it's lifestyle, woman, finances, health, and most importantly, like the internal work, which is, I feel, it is really what's helped me tapped in with IMC is the inside. That's really what it is, man. But yeah, that's what I can say on that.
Mm-hmm. So what's the journey been like on the inside? Like, what does that mean for you now?
Yeah, one of the things that comes to my mind is just really thinking back to the first time where I did the residency back at the original base.
Residency is living, and the base is where we live with AZD, and original residency is the first time Cruz stayed with us for like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 days or something at the original Base ONE, where we were first discovering how to live with AZD. Who's a top player, multiple girlfriends, connected with a lot of kinds of people, including some dangerous people, and it was a move to move in with the guy. That's the thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, since then, man, just seeing where AZD was at, what he was tapped into at that time, and what he was sharing with the lifestyle and the movement, and really like I was in there, and then I'm like, man, like I don't know what I'm gonna be learning or what I'm gonna be doing, what the experience is gonna be like. But then coming back and then just seeing how, how much different I would feel in my life, but yet nothing changed. It was the inside that changed. It was whether it be like the new frames or the new site. That's how I can describe it. And yeah, it was like it reminds me of like Neo in the Matrix. It's like it's when I took the red pill and said, hey, you know what, like there's no going back.
What can you say about the new frames and the new site?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Unpack that for people. What would that be
Yeah.
like?
The best way that I can describe it for myself, at least, would be just unplugging from the illusions of what they're selling us in the modern world, to chase this, to chase that, to find happiness in this, find happiness in that, when everything can just be so simple,
I see. So you'd
Yeah.
have new site and new frames
Yeah.
about how to live simply and not get too caught up in those things.
Yeah, and especially because ACD, he's a real deal. He is what he talks about. He is what he preaches. And for me, I mean that's like 100%. Like coming here and experiencing it, man, it's like, oh, like
What's so low about it?
it's like there really is a character like that in real life, like
Character
a real
like what?
monk, a real monk,
A monk?
a real player monk.
Yeah.
What
do you mean? What's a player monk?
Man.
How is that? What is that?
Yeah. Like for example, here there's no furniture or anything, right? But then there's because I'm thinking of AZD, like how I see him is like, I mean, he's a fulfilled human being. He has multiple girlfriends. He makes money, but he's not out there like preaching, oh, like go and find happiness in acquiring millions of dollars, or go out there and find happiness in even women, or go out there and find happiness in education, like going getting degrees at school or anything like that. It's like the complete opposite of, like I said, like what modern society will be preaching to us. And for me, it's like, man, learning from somebody who's as wise as this man in ages ahead and lifetimes ahead, like, man, like it's an experience, really. It really is just more of an experience than putting everything into words.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do you see as the future for you in Base 6, and like what is this evolution for you? What do you see?
Yeah, for myself, that I can describe it, it would be just becoming the best version of self and sharing that with the world, really. That's really what it would be, and impacting those around you, and even being like a role model for people who are looking for change, for looking to become better.
Now, there's a lot of like self-help gurus
Yeah.
and change workers and all kinds of things. Hypnotherapists, there's the red pillars, there's Andrew Tate, there's all kinds of ways to unplug from the matrix. Like, why this route?
Yeah, that's interesting. Man, like the best way I can describe it is like this is like the real deal. Everything else is bullshit.
How do you know that?
Man, just because it's like, I guess they look miserable, or they look like they're trapped. They look like they're just their identity is tied in with like the money, or their identity is tied in with what they perceive, what they're being perceived as with like their fans and whatnot. But it's like here is like nobody's attached to anything, you know what I mean? Well, at least that's my experience with it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's appealing to you.
Yeah, definitely. Where it's like you can just like be living your life, but be like somebody who's helped so many people, but you're just like, you look like a normal person just walking in the streets, like in a bike maybe, or a skateboard, or or at the park doing some pull-ups. But it's like, yeah, I mean, the more common people in the modern world, they're at like these fancy gyms, or they're at the most expensive places eating, where I know AZD recently even said like he's not even eating out anymore, he's cooking his own food. And it's like, man, just those little things that I feel like makes life easier, you know. But it's like nobody would tell us this because they're telling us to go the opposite way. At least that's been my experience of kind of like experiencing life, right? They're telling us to go the opposite way, you know what I mean? So
How much of following AZD is it about the women?
man, I think at least for myself, it actually started with a woman. Like I went through a breakup and then I found AZD on YouTube. And I
How
started
did you find AZD on YouTube? Like, what were you looking for? How to get
man,
over a breakup? How to get her
man,
back?
I don't remember what I was searching for, but I remember he was talking about how to like text a girl and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I know something at that time I knew there was like there should be like some techniques or there should be a right way to do it, you know.
Mhm.
So that's where I kind of started searching and then I found him. But for me now, I mean, it's not even about the woman. I mean, the woman, yeah, that I know that comes and it's part of just evolving yourself to being the best that you could be. But I mean, for me, I mean, yeah, the woman's nice, but it's just like living really good, you know what I mean? Like inside, like that's my experience with it, living really good inside.
So how do you know that? Well, yeah, okay. So living really good inside. Okay. So would you say that that's why you keep following this path? Because this is not an easy path to follow. It's demanding financially, time commitment, and just a level of sharpness that you're accountable for. It's not easy. Like you got to really stick with it and for a long time. So, obviously that something here, it makes it worth it for you to do that
Yeah,
exchange of energy and time and resource and whatever. And so it's good living good. Is that what it is? Like it's the living good
yeah.
that
I would say it's a combination of a lot of things, but I think the biggest thing for me would be finding more people like that, you know, because I know that's just one piece of it, but there's a lot. And it's just finding and hanging with the people that are the same, you know what I mean?
mm,
Like a community of people who they're the real deal, you know, they're actually doing it every day, you know,
real
working on
deal.
themselves,
The what?
working on themselves every day, you know, discipline, staying sharp.
So you're in the world, you work at a dealership. About how many other people work there? Other guys and girls?
At like 15 people.
Okay, so how many of them are working on themselves?
I doubt any of them. They're just, I mean, as simple as it sounds, I mean, I think they're just like robots, sheeps, slaves, you know, unconscious.
Okay, so
You
you're
know?
1 out of 15 at least there.
You know?
And yeah, so that's tough because so what else? What you grew up in the LA area, like about where you live now?
Close by, yeah, close by.
How many you're what, 35, 33, 31?
29.
29.
29.
29, Chris Cruz. So high school was only 12 years ago.
Yeah.
About how many guys, friends have you kept up with since high school?
Man. There's a few, but the ones that I talk to like almost like every other day would be two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them, that's it. Yeah.
Are they working on themselves?
Not as much as I can see that they can. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough because then who are you going to be friends with? That was 12 years ago. You were in
Yeah.
school, and then did you go to college?
For a little bit, yeah.
Uh-huh. Did you make any friends there that you still talk to?
No, I don't talk to anybody.
Okay, so since college, you've been in the workforce, working real estate dealerships and things like that. And so you've come across lots of people in sales, of course. Like, do you have any clients that became friends?
Some, yeah, some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. So you have a lot of exposure with the world, and it's like, what are you going to do as you move forward in life? You're going to live with yourself? Are you going to get married? Or what are you going to do? You're going to live with your parents? Like, those are basically the options, right? You're going to move in with a girl, which is basically marriage, even if whether you get married or not. Yeah. Or you live by yourself, or you live with your parents or some family member, or you get some kind of housemate somehow. Which if they're strangers, I assume you're just doing that to save rent. Dang. Or an IMC base. That's a really nice thing because you got guys that are dedicated to changing themselves. They know that there's a human potential that they can reach for that is not how they weren't raised to be at their maximum potential. Their whole upbringing and whatever their experience in life, maybe bits and pieces of it will contribute, but overall, nobody seems to have the solution to life. And that's a big thing to say, but so I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that was one of my main things was I never really would want to live with anybody else unless they were tapped in with IMC. Like
Why
I
is
would
that?
rather live by myself than with any strangers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
because I know that together, I mean, there's powers in numbers for sure. And just like aligning with the whole like a mastermind, the synergy, and everybody's just on the same like wavelength, you know what I mean?
What do you think about guys that are in IMC but they haven't moved into a base yet?
Man, they're still they still haven't crossed the line where it's like, as there's a saying that says burn the boats, you know what I mean? I
Dang.
don't know if you heard that story, right?
I have.
Yeah. So it's like, for me, that's what it is, like burn the boats. And people, even some people that I've known, they're like, man, you're an extremist or something. It always reminds me when AZ goes like, yeah, man, like why else would you want to be anything else? And I'm like, man, I just gotta own up to that. Like, yo, like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it all the way or as much as I can. But like, it's like, yeah, like I'd rather take that step forward and just say, hey, let's see what happens. I mean, that's what I would say for anybody who doesn't live at a base. Like, yeah, take this step forward, and you know, your life might change forever. Where that's the moment you were waiting for. Yeah.
Right on. Cool, man. Well, for any listeners out there, you know, some of the guys, the free guys that are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or even that listen to this podcast after the fact, you know, I do have some female audience, and it's mostly my girls, but you know, I'm sure some other female in there, but it's mostly the guys out there. That's why this podcast continues. Why should, if they're not on the daily classes, what is now called AZD Mastermind University, what was formerly called Alpha Academy and formerly had many different names, but basically the daily entry level class, if they're not on it, you know, yeah, first I'll just say, what's one thing you might say to them? They're listening, they might be first week, they might be a year or more listening.
And you're saying that
they're not registered for the daily class, 97 a month.
Yeah.
The link's in the bio and description everywhere.
Yeah, they're missing out. I mean, one thing that I always remember is like when AZD said, like, who else do you know that shows up every single day together, more than 10 people, more than 30 people even, and you know, mastermind about whatever that topic is at the time, whether it be like something about the mind or something about woman or something about life in general, and you know, there's no groups out there that do that. I mean, I haven't ran into one, and I've ran into many people, you know. But yeah, man, I would say like you're making a big mistake by not going on.
What if they say they don't have the money?
Man, I think that's not valid at all. You know, everybody has at least $97, $3 a day, right? Everybody has $3 a day at least.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, let's check any of these commenters here. I think I saw people writing things. Dang, so many people. Yeah. See if there's any useful comments here. No, not here. All right. Great comments, just no questions or anything to say. Let's see here. Weirdo.
Ready for the beach?
Yeah. Okay. And then Zoom. Anybody here have a question or comment for Chris Cruz? These are some of the regulars in IMC Nation. Now's your chance. And then you have, when do you leave?
On Monday.
Okay. During the day, morning, you drove here, right?
Yeah.
Where you parked, in the visitor spot?
No, just
On
the
the
next
street.
street over, yeah.
And today's Wednesday. So that means you'll be going out with us Friday and Saturday night. And then, yeah, and then Sunday night we'll be recapping, and you'll be going back as a guardian. Cool. So is there anything else you would share?
Man, there's a lot I can share, and you know, but
yeah,
people need to come, man. Everybody needs to come who can. Yeah, it's fucking dope.
What would you share if you had one more thing to share?
What would I share? Oh man, I got one. Life's too short not to live the life that you want to live. So, you know, make it happen. For me, hey, I want to tap in here. That's part of my journey, and you know, if it's calling you, then get your ass down here. That's it.
Yeah, I'm realizing barely anything's happened on this trip that
Yeah.
you've been here because you drove up late at night,
Yeah.
slept, woke up, and then we're all doing our activity. You're here when I stream, and then you trained with us last night fighting for the first time, and then but that's it. And then you're here for lectures, and that's great, right? Being in person. What can you say different is about being in person for the lecture versus just online?
I would mainly say the energy. You can definitely feel the energy. Like the base, like I feel is a living organism. You know what I mean? Because as soon as I came here, I felt different. I'm like, man, like I feel so at peace. So calm.
It's not like that at your base.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just the feel of here because of the beingness of everybody. Just like, I mean, and speaking in those terms of like like energy. When you go in the room, oh, there's a vibe in here. You know what I mean? That's what I get off here. It's like very peaceful, very like going. Movement. So yeah, I think that
peaceful and going in movement.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Tony, you have a question or comment? Tony,
Yeah, quick question for MF Cruz. What's one improvement you've seen in yourself since you attended residencies, like in yourself or your business?
Yeah, hell yeah. Man, the main one that I can think of right now would just be like letting go of just the tension and the nervousness, and really just being okay with being inside my body. Like, however that sounds, like that's really something that I don't know how I came about that realization, but that's something that for sure has helped me coming in. You know what I mean?
That's what residency has done, different from like camps or gatherings or lectures online or things, but that's what residency's done.
Well, it's also like helped me go back with just that energy, like I'm saying that I pick up here, and just going back with that.
What is the energy you pick up here that you go back with?
Man, it would be how could I describe it? It would just be like moving, you know what I mean? Not having so much noise in my head, just like being present, I would say. That's what it would be, being more present. Like here, I feel more present than over there, but maybe because over there I'm like doing shit all the time, and just like in my head, like, oh damn, I gotta do this, gotta do that. But here I actually have time to kind of like think about like, okay, like what's going on, what am I doing? It's kind of like just being unplugged from my world and coming here and supercharging, right, and then just going back over there and coming back stronger. Yeah.
Are you finding ways to be productive during the day when you're staying here?
Yeah, definitely.
You have your schedule filled out with like productive kind of activities, even if it's study or whatever, but like, do you have your schedule? That's something actually that hasn't happened. You should be sharing your schedule. We're all sharing our schedule.
Yeah.
we're doing that because you're here.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm realizing that you share schedules.
So I'll do that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was still getting a feel for what happens or whatever, so I can add things or take things.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, cool. And you can look at our schedules because we'll say when there's lecture or Panjo or something, and then work your schedule around that.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Cool. Okay, anything else, everybody out there in TikTok land? Zoom land. Right. Well, let's see. Thank you. I'll just wrap it up with something.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. All right, that's Chris Cruz, everybody. He'll be gone by next week, so we'll try to tap back in with him sometime in the future, and we'll see how Base 6 is going. He was just on the officer meeting, so it was a great officer meeting, and you see how the top brass and IMC Nation create and expand IMC. And so there's a progression of offerings here, and it's all one big offering that just comes compartmentalized into a few different kinds of offerings. It starts with the free stuff, the TikTok, the YouTube, and whatever you guys are watching, the clips that my staff members chop up from his lectures and posts and stuff, and puts it out there for you so you can get an idea for the philosophy and mindset. See, watch those for however long it takes you to commit. Go to the next level, the beginner class, what's called now AZD Mastermind University. Basically, the daily 10 a.m. You get a link in your email every morning. It's a different link. And you show up, and it's a mastermind of a bunch of guys, and it's you'll accelerate your evolution very far with that. when you see the communication, the dynamics, and all the stories that we tell, because men learn a lot from stories, how to be, how to conduct yourself, different situations, what to do. You learn from older men, wiser men, men with different experiences, whatever it is. And especially on the dynamic of men and women, that's obviously where we are head and shoulders and just generations really ahead of other men. Honestly, I don't know that other men will ever they get it. They'll even generation after generation, they're just going in the wrong direction. I don't know that they'll ever come around to this kind of wisdom unless they connect somehow to IMC or someone who has studied IMC. And so 97 a month, it's worth trying it for a month because you get all the recordings for many months past. You could just crash course with it all. And if you don't like it, then just unsubscribe. It's worth the gamble. You're obviously watching the free stuff. I think you should try the paid stuff. From there, advanced trainings. We have gatherings, we have advanced online trainings, and they all kind of flow together in a continuous. There's one advanced training, it ends, then the next one, then it ends, then the next one, and then it ends. And that's just the way it's been for many years. That's just what it is, that there's a big enough student body and the information is so vast that it's easy to separate into beginner, advanced, and there's a clear definite difference. From there, in-person's always the way to go. It's a different level of experience. In-person comes with the possibility to go in field, do private moments. Those are extra exercises for presence, for relaxation, for a sense of aesthetic in your life, because that's how a monk can be a player, because he has aesthetics. That's how an urban, just simple man can be a player, because he understands aesthetics. With aesthetics, you can get women. And with wisdom, you can live a happy, fulfilling life with women, if you have aesthetics also. And I may be oversimplifying, but that's a pretty good synopsis of what we do. And then from there, the next level, there are super advanced courses like the messengers, and there's residency. Messengers would come after residency, I think. For example, there's a new messenger in the making. He's going to come do residency first quarter of this next year. And after that, I'm sure he's going to want to do residency. I'm sorry, he's going to want to do messengers. So residency is where you can actually come and live with AZD, the top player, and all of us who've learned to live with him, how to operate so that we're all becoming that in our own ways. And that's what, you know, if there's ever any admiration for me or Sultana Fernando, that's what people are admiring, really, for the most part. My yoga and this and that, maybe, but it's a beingness, it's a presence, and it's a way of communicating that can express what I have cultivated with the yoga or with my PhD or with my wrestling. Like, I built something in me, but I couldn't express it. And most people will never learn to express it. Not in a way that other people get, not in a way that's high value to other people where it entices them. Yeah. Who's they? Coach Ozo. So that's what you got to do, is learn to express yourself in a way that people, the right kinds of people, are attracted to it. That you attract people for business, for also relationships also. Quit repelling people. It's obvious to people in the way that they communicate that they're having trouble being in harmony with others, that they can't look past the literal things that people are saying because everybody's miscommunicating. They're not using the right words. But you get better and better and better at it. And it's amazing. You're going to be continually amazed if you are on this journey and continuing it, which is really just less than a handful of people that are, you know, that I'm looking at right now, or a handful. It's astounding how hypnotized everybody is. Everybody to the top levels of IMC Nation are hypnotized, myself included, into this life. And it just keeps re-hypnotizing you into it. And you got to climb out of it every day and break the chains of other people's opinions in your own head and your own sloth and lethargy and limitations of action. And that's what we do, because that's where the fulfillment's going to be. It's not in getting so busy in these external activities that bring in the money so I can spend the money on some other sense pleasures so that I can go and make more money and spend more money and make more money and spend more money. The quality of human interaction with the other beings here on Earth that is only available with, you know, the things I said: wisdom, a sense of aesthetics, and how to communicate, express yourself. That's what we do. You can see the link in the descriptions or the bio where this episode is posted. Thank you, everybody, for attending live. And I'll see you next week. Starting next week, this podcast will air at 12 p.m. Pacific instead of 6 p.m. Pacific. So look forward to that. And I'll see you there. Os. Jai Guru Dev. Praise the Lord.